So this is our first video that we are filming for 2025. Been a bit of a crazy start getting back to norm for those that have followed us and our journey. We take a month off at the end of every year, and we came back around the 16th of January and we're full steam ahead. Some exciting things lined up this year is that we have finally moved into our new factory space. We are starting to receive a whole bunch of new machinery and things are starting to get up and going. So thanks very much to all of you for your support over the past couple of years, and we're looking forward to another great year ahead. Part of the machinery that we have been waiting for is machines specifically that we need to make our mock toe boot. I know this is on everyone's mind, when are we finally releasing this boot, and there has been some major delays. So we're finally getting the machines in next week, but it doesn't end there. When we're fine-tuning this boot, we've actually had to put new molds down on our current existing sole patterns, just because our current molds don't fit the mock toe boot that we are making. As we're making a true mock toe construction, it is very different to our stitch down construction that we are normal to here. But as I've mentioned, way back in the early days of our factory in the early 90s, we were originally a moccasin factory. So we are very well prepared and know what we are in for, especially because we have still got many of the staff that have been here for over 15 to 20 years that have worked with us that are familiar with working with mock toe boots, but it has been a very lengthy and expensive tooling up process. But we are hoping to get these boots onto feet by June this year. So now let's get into our custom boot rack of the week. There has been a bit of a backlog, obviously, with us closing for the Christmas break, but we thought a nice batch to get into is a selection of Numzaan boots. So we're going to go through each one of them and just show you how different you can vary this specific style of ours. So let's get into our Numzaan boot in all black. But these two boots in front of me are a complete 180 to each other, and we're going to run through the specs and show you why. Now this boot in my right hand is going to the United Kingdom. And this boot in my left hand is going to Texas, United States. So let's start with the more formal option. So as you can see, this customer here has gone for our ASH M last. So straight away you've got that almond shape, which makes it a lot more formal. He's also decided to remove the toe cap, which makes it quite a nice clean toe. He's also gone for the all eyelets, which makes it nice and formal, and just something a little bit different that makes it a little bit easier to get onto the foot is the addition of pull loop at the back of the boot. So if you wanted to make this as formal as possible, we'd probably look at removing this, but there again, you're losing the convenience of getting the boot easily on and off. Now the boot is double lasted. You can see by our yellow lining that we have used here, which is one of the specialties of our Numzaan boot, making that extra bit more durable. The double lasted construction does make the boot slightly more water resistant. So with a good leather balm and polish, this boot is going to keep water out when walking through some puddles or some wet grass. Now the boot has a full leather midsole with our resin runner, so it is going to be on that heavier side, but there again you're getting the durability and quality of that full leather midsole. Now to finish the boot off with its formal look, you've got the frog grip outsole. So this boot all comes together for a great work boot, something that's going to be rugged enough to use in the outdoors even, but perfect for daily work commutes as well. So now let's do a complete 180 to this pair of Numzaan boots. So straight away, you can see the change in last. Here, this customer's gone for the JG last, which is quite a wide fitting boot, and immediately it gives you that more work look to it. Now the addition of the two-tone of rough out and smooth out black leather here goes really nicely with this boot, and probably because a rough out leather is going to be a little bit more abrasion resistant, and if this boot gets some scratches and scars on it, it is going to hide it a little bit better. So this boot's going to be a lot more suited for a work environment, and this just looks really good as well. I mean, you could use an all black boot in the office and it could blend in very nicely, just depending on what you really want the boot to be used for. So another big change here is the addition of two speed hooks compared to the all eyelets. This just helps with the ease of getting the boots on. You can open up the gusset tongue a little bit easier and just makes it a lot more convenient when getting the boots on. Once again, this customer's added on a pull loop at the back, just like this pair. So with the speed hooks and the pull loop, just gonna get this boot on a lot easier. Now, where you see a big difference in the silhouette of this boot is in the tire wedge outsole. So here we've got our tire wedge, where we've taken our wedge pattern and we've just made a much more aggressive luggy sole. We took the pattern from a tire retread and turned it into a mold. So here we use the same compound we use on our Oringo sole, which many of you know for our African Ranger, so a lot more comfortable. But on the negative side, it does wear a little bit faster than something like our JG sole, which has a much firmer rubber. But on concrete or smooth floors, standing all day, this boot's going to be really comfortable. And I think the best thing about this is once they start wearing this boot in, maybe a little bit of a beeswax or treating of this leather, this rough out and the smooth is really going to stand out with some time and wear. So here we have two Numzaan boots, two completely different maybe uses. I'm not 100% sure what these boots are going to be used for, but just a nice comparison about how you can go all black and mix it all up. So now let's move on to the brown leather options in our Numzaan. So here we've got a barefoot Numzaan. This customer has gone for our JGC leather across the upper with including the toe cap. Now this is, as you can see, on our barefoot or zero drop last. So this goes with our anvil sole, so from toe to heel, there's almost a zero drop. Now, many of you that have worn our barefoot boots will know that this boot is very flexible, but as you can see here, I can't bend this boot in the opposite direction, and that is because there's a steel shank here. So we are finding that lots of customers actually really love that zero drop feel, but still need the support of a steel shank. So if you're climbing ladders or rocky terrain, this steel shank really goes a long way just when you're standing and for extra support underfoot. Now the boot is double lasted, so here again, you may be losing out on the traditional barefoot feel, because double lasting is going to make this boot a lot more firmer and a bit more of a harder break-in. But you know, after a good couple of miles, the boot is obviously going to break in a lot better, and you may not even realize that the boot has been double lasted. But the biggest benefit of that, as I mentioned before, is that the double lasting just helps with the water resistant properties of this boot. Now, especially going with our JGC leather, which has quite a nice finish to it, this is naturally going to bounce some water off of it. With some leather balm, it's going to just assist it a little bit further. And then here again, the pull loop for ease of getting the boot on and off, especially with the speed hooks here. So here, a great combination between a barefoot / zero drop look, while at the same time still keeping some rugged attributes that a normal boot would give you. So this pair of boots is off to Chicago, USA. Onto our last boot, and this one's off to Milwaukee, USA, and a very similar boot to the black boot that we spoke about earlier. Now, as you can see, it looks completely different, and that is obviously because of our HOC brown leather, Houston brown, compared to the JGC combination of rough out and smooth. And obviously this customer has not gone for the toe cap. Now, one thing that, without going for the toe cap, is that the boot does give it a slightly more formal look. So here you've got quite a multi-purpose boot. He's also gone for our STC last compared to the JG last. So our STC last is slightly more rounded compared to our JG last, which is a wider, flatter fit. So the STC last, you could almost say, is an in-between of the ASHM and the JG, just with a lot more room in and around the toes. Now here, the customer, which I really like, is that he's gone for our traditional green laces that many of our boots come with, which gives it that little bit of a gym green look to it. Although he has left off the gym green embossing on the heel, which is more than fine. With time and wear, you know, that logo sometimes does blend into the boot, but he has added it onto the tongue here. Here, the customer has left off the pull loop at the back, but still has the speed hook. So you might not have the ease of pulling the boots on, but these speed hooks will just help in getting the boot on and off. And here you can see we've gone for the full leather midsole and our Oringo outsole. So here, you're not gonna gather as much debris, and quite easy to just, if you've been walking through mud or sand and want to go into your house to rinse the mud off or sand off, or if you've got a hose pipe. Whereas if you've got our tire wedge sole, you know, it's going to be a little bit more difficult getting that mud and sand out of the boot. As you can see, another thing to look at is how this boot has the black edge stain, whereas here you've got the natural edge stain, which gives it just a much more unique finish and look to it, but it goes really nicely with our Houston brown leather. So there we have it. We have 4 pairs of Numzaan boots, all completely different, and I hope this video has given you a good idea of how you can take this boot and turn it into something that is more specific for your needs. So thanks once again, chaps, for watching and enjoying this video. Just let us know in the comment section below if there's anything more you would like us to do. This year we are hoping to do some more of that content where we go out and actually into the field with guys using our boots and testing them ourselves. So hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and we are on the verge of 20,000 subscribers. So who would have thought starting a channel just talking about our gym green boots and what we're up to here at the factory would get this far. So it's all a big thanks to you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.